And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from Ichigo Kurosaki. Ichigo is giving me Naruto and Star Wars Who Would Win. By the way, you can tell I'm a little behind. I had so many days off that I kind of got a little lax on Wednesday when I got to pre-recording, and I didn't get Zanpakuto or Who Would Win yesterday up. But that's what today is for, to just catch up on everything that needs to be caught up on, and I don't know, at least do my Who Would Win for tomorrow and then do the What If later in the day. Anyway, though, Ichigo asks who would win, Darth Vader or Obito? And, this makes sense. Apprentice or, a minion or whatever that is manipulated by a darker, more powerful entity that is used as the main bad guy, the main face of the villains. Right out of the gate, though, I can already tell you, this is one of those this is actually difficult. Because, first off, there's different ways we can look at Obito. We can just look at him before he got the Rinnegan. We can look at him when he becomes the Six Paths. For my money, I think we'll look at him as Six Paths. B, we'll look at him prior to the Six Paths when he is just base Obito. And, I mean, and that's the thing. If, say, base Obito can beat him, actually, why don't we just look at base Obito first, and then we'll go from there. First off, though, Vader. Obviously, Vader was Anakin. He was a Jedi, and then he was a Sith. He is exceptionally powerful. He's one of the strongest Sith Lords of his time, and in the general eras prior. He is extremely capable with the Force. A master duelist, including using a lightsaber, obviously. But ultimately, his power, again, comes from the Force, which you can use in multiple ways, including telekinesis, which is one of the big ones he used it for, augmenting his physicality. Jedi mind trick is still capable of being used by the Sith. Minor levels of Force healing. He can stabilize himself with the Force for several hours if his life support system is damaged. I already went with telekinesis. Perception, Force, sensory abilities, enhances his sensory abilities. His suit augments his strength well beyond that of a person his size. He is he is just a deadly individual. However, he does have some key weak points, including his suit being damaged and just being overwhelmed by a stronger Force user, or just, he's not immortal, so you could just shoot him in theory and kill him in theory. There's a lot of theoretical there. Was it 2 to minus, which is basically the absorbing energy technique? He has that as well. That's how he stopped Solo's blaster bolts. Obito, just as Toby as we see him before he gets Rinnegan upgrades and all that, does not have a lot going for him in terms of variety, but he really makes up for it in quantity or in quality. This is due to the fact that, we know he has some fire jutsu under his belt because he's got fire style. It's not known whether he could have used wood release or not, even though we know he has white Zetsu Hashirama cells inside of him. But it's that damn Kamui. It's that damn ability to just put parts of his body in that separate dimension and basically be intangible in the world. Add on the fact that because he has a Sharingan, he can basically put someone in a Genjutsu, if he has to. But it's one of those questions where if Vader can't even hurt base Obito, there's no way he can take on War Arc Obito, Six Paths Obito, or anything like that. So if he can't do anything against base Obito, then this is game, set, match already. So the question is, can Vader do anything against him? And right out the gate, we got to take out the Jedi mind trick. The Jedi mind trick can't play a factor here. It only works on the weak-willed, and Obito is anything but weak-willed. Plus, his Genjutsu could, or his Sharingan, in theory, could see through any illusion. Although Jedi aren't known for illusions, it's more of a literal mental manipulation. So then you have to. So if no mental trick is going to work on Obito, then you have to ask the question: can Vader do anything against him physically? Like, his lightsaber could easily kill him if it could actually hit him. And while he doesn't have, because he's missing one of his eyes, his ability to use Kamui is affected is hindered to some degree. Like, we don't see him using Kakashi's level of it, like the offensive capability of it. We see him using the other capability of it. If Obito had his full Kamui from the get, that dude would already have been hacks. You could not touch him, and he could just pop you away, or just take your head off, and you never see it coming. Like, seriously, both of those together are nuts powerful. Look what happened with Kakashi when he had Susanoo in both eyes. He literally was able to Kamui a Susanoo, which is gross. It's honestly gross, including a Kamui Lightning Blade. So yeah, Vader's telekinesis would be able to probably do at least something, but his body's not technically there. Like, the image of his body there, but he's not, his physical mass in there, so there's nothing really to grab. And if Obito suddenly feels himself being dragged through, like towards Vader or something like that, or starting to be crushed, he can just, again, just disappear if he needs to. Yeah, so, and Obito still has offensive attacks that he can use against Vader. He can keep launching fire at him. Vader can block that too, but so what runs out first? Vader's ability to use the Force or chakra? Well, obviously, in the general scheme of things, it's chakra. The Force is all around you, always, constantly. You can physically tire yourself out, but the Force is always there. But that being said, Obito is also a very keen strategist as well. He wouldn't just be like, whoop, whoop, whoop. He would, if he could, get right behind Vader, who would probably be able to sense it at points, but, he'd just be like, clever trick, Lord Vader. My turn. And just bop Vader out of there. So, honestly, I'm not even going to bother talking about Six Paths, because honestly, at that point, that he's well beyond Vader's league in terms of sheer power and things that he's capable of doing. And we're not really going to go into War Arc Obito, because, again, this is an Obito that also has a Six Paths entourage of Jinchuriki that he can manipulate at will and cause them to go full Jinchuriki. Vader is powerful. He's extremely powerful. But if he can't touch his opponent, it's kind of a moot point about the fight. And I'm not saying this is a Naruto... Okay, you know what? By the way, I'm not saying this is a Naruto fanboy. I'm saying it as point of fact. If Vader can't hit the opponent, then there's no way he can win. And that's not even going into the idea that Obito might be able to put him in a Genjutsu. That one I don't think he would be able to do because of the mask kind of acting like as a shield and not being able to know when he's making direct eye contact. Now, so real quick, to talk about that, I have been on record, and it's very rarely do I actually respond to comments like this. And I respond to them even less in the comments because I don't want to start crap. But every once in a while, I see a comment from someone who clearly didn't like my opinion on something, which is fine. But then thinks they're so impressive as to point out how I'm wrong, and then not really be very good at pointing out how I'm wrong. And then go on to talk about how you should not watch me just because I have a mouth, which is actually the line I said. So someone, I don't point out people, and they don't actually have an account. I think this account is used either for I wouldn't say it's used for trolling, because they did at least try to make an argument. Not a very good one. But basically, in my Sakura versus Minas McAllen Sterner P versus Sakura fight, someone basically said that I was a fanboy because I didn't take into account how physical and spiritual pressure, spiritual attacks. Sorry, I didn't. I take into account that she has physical and spiritual attacks like any character in Bleach. I'm sorry if it really hurts you to be objective about facts. It's not our problem. What? First off, that last sentence didn't make any sense. And he says, don't waste your valuable time watching this guy talk because he has a mouth. And then goes into speed, menace, strength, this character, IQ. And conclusion, this character slaps. So, first off, and very clear, I very much like Naruto. I very much like Star Wars. But I have gone on record saying multiple freaking times, you dumbass. And I hate being this guy. I really do. But it's one of those things where I'm like, wow, this person really doesn't have any idea what they're talking about. Where, you dumbass, where I've said I liked Bleach more than I like Naruto. And if you're gonna try to, like, break down why I'm wrong, why don't you actually try to break down why I'm wrong instead of just going, oh, here's the stats, this character wins, this character wins, this character wins, with no explanation behind that. So, I don't know. Comments like that just make me laugh, but also just get under my skin just enough that I feel like I'm like, okay, let's be very clear. I am not a fanboy. Let's deconstruct that for a second. Being a fanboy or girl of something is fine, but my opinion is not one of a fanboy or fangirl. Obviously, as I said, I like Bleach more, and I thought Sakura won the fight. I just can't remember exactly how I broke down that video, but I'm assuming that's how I went. I'm assuming I gave her the win. Spoilers. Now, maybe I glossed over some facts or just forgot some facts, and guess what? That can happen. But just because someone doesn't agree with what your opinion is, don't go out and try to blame other people. Don't go out and just call them idiots or talk about how they're just stupid or fanboying in the negative term or anything like that, because you're just making yourself look like an idiot then. You are making yourself look like the fanboy in the negative context that you used it towards other people. So, look, there's your PSA. I hate when I have to do that. Let me rephrase that. I don't have to, but I hate when something comes up where I have to talk about it, because it just gets under my skin. Not because it bothered me in the sense like, oh, God, why? It's more like, God, why? It's like that. It's like, oh, I feel so bad. No, it's, oh, God, why are people such... Why don't people actually think about what they're typing out before they type it out? I don't know. Other than that, though, I usually have, even when people comment on thinking I'm wrong, they're usually not dicks about it or anything like that. So, I don't know. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I've got a ton of other videos to do. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.